Hey, DR fam. Hope everybody's having a great day. Had a great Wednesday. Uh, I am running late. Like I say, my days the daytime's getting shorter, but my work days are getting much longer. And then I recorded a whole 20-minute video, um, and then went to upload it and realized that I had the wrong microphone plugged in, and I may record it, but the audio was horrible. So I said, well, let me just go ahead and just do another one over. So I won't go through the 20 minutes again. This one will be a lot quicker. I'll catch up on some of that stuff, which was really around high time frame analysis and, just saying that we're looking at, I think we talked about this yesterday or the day before, that I'm really starting to try to incorporate some more of the NQ into my kind of daily balance. We're ES people most of the time. I talk about that all the time, but there's some opportunities on NQ when the ES isn't doing what it's supposed to do, or vice versa. So it kind of gives us a double opportunity to to play the market in a safe, as safe as you can for any play in the market. So we'll just talk about today, and I'll get back to the time frame analysis kind of on the next video. All right. Now, I'm going to focus on ES first. I did trade ES today, and I'll show you why in a second. First trade I took. Now, first of all, let's go through our normal. Right, I think we had about a 22 point range on ES today. I'm not doing ranges on NQ yet because I don't know really. I need to study that more as far as like what I think a normal range is on NQ. I'm pretty comfortable saying 16 to 20 plus on ES, so we'll stick with that from a range standpoint. Notice what happened on both charts, right? We started up this morning, 10 o'clock, right? We talked about our 10 o'clock move on both of these, and we just, boom, came back down, right? Nice drop down. If you were, playing early and you saw that, I know at least one of our friends on this channel, they like, oh, I remember. Thanks for telling us about that 10 o'clock because I guess they fallen in love with it. So they've done that I think a couple times now, and I'm just glad to hear that. Right. So anyway, so we came down. So now what it means to me though is we're actually probably going to go. My bias, 70% bias is that we would have a down day, so to speak. Okay. So let's go into where we end up with. We started to come back up after 10:30. Right, we consolidated for a bit, and everybody's kind of doing the same thing, right? So we consolidated for a bit, and then we moved up some. Now here's one place where it gets interesting. We haven't confirmed yet on either chart. So, but the only thing I'll say is if you look at, they both have bearish fair value gaps. Okay, but notice something here is on the NQ, we actually went up into the fair value gap and then reversed off of that. Okay, whereas on ES we actually went to the fair value gap and turned around. We didn't go into it. So, if you're a fair value gap person like me, this is much more attractive than this one is. Okay, from what I expect price to do once it goes into a gap. Okay, now where ES kind of kind of gets back on the plus side is with the DR, right? And so, and this one's a little bit, I'm going to get rid of that so we can just make this a little bigger. This one's a little interesting because, you know, on ES, price comes down right at the DR. It actually closes right on the DR line. We normally like price to come down below and then retrace. But if you're being aggressive, that's you can't really get much closer than that as far as confirming low. So I'm going to call that my, low confirmation, right? If I'm being aggressive. If I'm not going to take that trade. I'm not going to look for that trade to happen, or I'm not going to say, okay, now I'm looking for a retrace. All right. We didn't have that option on NQ. All right. NQ did not confirm until the next candle. Right. And so if you're being strictly by the book, you can probably say ES didn't confirm to the next candle either. But again, if you're being aggressive, then that's a pretty good confirmation, because what ends up happening is, so one of two things, right? If you did the ICT fair value gap trade, you're in this trade and okay, life is good. Okay. if you were doing on, and that's on NQ. If you were looking at it from a, I want to do a DR trade, you're not in this trade. There's no trade here for you. Okay. On the other side, on ES, if you're doing a ICT fair value gap trade, there's no trade there. Okay. If you were doing a aggressive DR trade, you notice we came down, we had a small retrace, right? But again, it was enough to get me above the DR low. So boom, there you go. And you could have taken an easy 5 points off of this trade. So that's where it looks like looking at both of these kind of helps, because you can say, where am I comfortable? What's my risk tolerance, my risk management strategy, and which one of these plays better into it. All right. So that's the first kind of difference that we'll talk about. The second difference is kind of around that lunchtime 1 o'clock move. The trades I took, I did take trades that I did lose my first trade, because I got in somewhere in this consolidation here, because we went above, we retraced above, and then we came back down, right? So we confirmed, retraced, and we started to come back down. And one of these candles I got in on, I had a meeting at 1 o'clock. And so normally in these kind of trades, especially when I'm consolidating like this, I want to be able to watch the trade, right? And so I couldn't, because I had to go to a meeting. And so I said, so that turned, not intentionally, that turned my trade into, what I call my set and forget trades. Now, I was a little comfortable, because it's hard to see I gotta make these breads a little brighter, but there is a bearish fair value gap, kind of underlying all that. So I take that as a confluence sign. So I was a little comfortable. So what I ended up doing was I moved my stop loss down to 2.5 points, because I'm on the ES. And then, so I was like, and I had my take profit at 5 points. And so what ended up happening was I, basically ended up getting stopped out by about 0.5 of a point, or half of a point. Because as I'm, going to the meeting, we had this little spike. We had basically had a little spike right here, and that was enough to take me out of the trade. Okay, so no harm, no foul. I didn't get back to it until 2 o'clock, so I wasn't really worried about it. Again, I had my risk tolerance was lower, so I was comfortable taking that loss if I had to. Okay, so by the time I get back, I'll move these over so we can see what these look like. So now let's look at our 2 o'clock kind of range, or 1:30 into 2 o'clock. So that, there was opportunity here, which you could have on both charts. And then the opportunity I did take was once I got back to my meeting from 2 o'clock, we had the same kind of movement where price went up, and I ended up putting my order on IDR, and then boom, nice trade there. Now, interesting part, right? So same movement. Look at 2 o'clock over here. We, in that area, we went up to the DR line, but we didn't go back above. We didn't go into the range. So, if I'm looking at taking trades, right? And if I think about it, here, yes, I'm taking this trade. Here, no, I'm not taking that trade. Okay, because it's not following my rules, right? That's what we're talking about, rule following. Okay, and that was the DR trade for today. This got me, back positive, of course, and then I was like, okay, so that was it. So I put, now remember, all these times now we have alerts set, right, that tell us when to actually start looking at these. So reset an alert. That alert never went off, but then one thing I noticed was, and this may have worked on both. I don't think it was as it would have. Yeah, there's a bearish fair value gap. And sorry, you guys can't see that. I'll change the coloring of the fair value gaps so a little bit brighter on the screen. But the last trade I took was not a DR trade. It was really a fair value gap ICT trade. Price came up here, jumped into this fair value gap, and then boom, just shot down. So this was actually a nice 10-pointer on that trade. Could have taken the same trade over here. but didn't. Right, that was good enough for me. And like I said, once I made my money back on this trade, I was kind of like, I didn't want to be too greedy, and so I just I kind of let this one go. But again, this is my setup from now on, and I need you guys to tell me if you like this or not, seeing both, kind of comparing and contrast. But I will be using this as kind of my setup because again, when I have limited time, if one is acting right and the other one is not set up correctly, I can kind of pick and choose which one I want to see. I can even see this on my phone. It's very hard to do, but I mean, it's not hard. It's just you got to like squint a little bit. But so I can even do it if I have my phone with me. Now, if you guys don't like it, you want to see just one chart, we'll kind of go back to ES. But I think this is helpful to kind of, I say, do the compare and contrast. And like I said, we'll talk more about the higher time frame analysis pieces. We did take out a couple of weekly buy sides and things today. So and one is headed toward a monthly, the other one is not yet. So there's some nuance there that we can discuss as we go along. So anyway, hope this was helpful. Again, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments as far as reviewing both charts at the same time. I am still getting used to the NQ. I saw Jim put a post on there yesterday in yesterday's video about having to adjust the stop loss for NQ because it moves different than and the pricing is different than ES. So appreciate that for sure. And I'm trying to figure out what that true stop loss risk management on NQ is for me. So if you guys have suggestions or things you use, let me know. But I do have to do some digging in on NQ as far as like understanding how that chart moves comparison to ES, even though they look like they're doing the same thing. All right. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'm not gonna hold you too long. Appreciate it, and again, sorry for the delay, but hopefully this gives you something to think about. All right, love on your loved ones. You never know when you won't be able to do it again. So take advantage of each and every opportunity. And like I said, I appreciate you guys, and let me know what you think in the comments. And other than that, I will talk to you guys later.